Welcome to another episode of Thirsty Smurfin' Thursday. We are yanking them back, loud, ready to go. I want to give a big shout out to the last time we had a call-in show. We'll go ahead and bring everybody up. DeMay, did you know Brian Whalen called back?
Is Brian getting lonely again?
Yeah, he called back and called 17 times from an unknown number. And so we held the lines specifically for him. We had to hang up on Dan the Lawn Man to switch over to him. And apparently he had called so many times that somehow he wigged out the carrier and his *67 no longer worked. And so it went from unknown caller to, of course, the number we have saved as Sir Brian Whalen. And we got an immediate notification that that's who it was that was calling. And he came on. He says, Dan the Lawn Man. And I was like, oh, yeah. Hey, Brian, by the way, what did you mean the first time you called? What did you exactly want to say to us? By the way, congratulations on becoming a master gardener. And guess what he did? Congratulations. He was the mecca of achievement. He hung up. He chicken shitted out. He hung up. He had enough. And then I proceeded to let him know all the things, well, not all the things, but a lot of the things we learned about him, including his brother and his brother in the Navy. And his brother just had a beautiful second baby. And, it's interesting how he could be from the same loins that birthed his brother. He also originated there. It's interesting. So it all worked out. I'm glad to know that in real life he is as sad of a sack of dog shit as he is online. So congratulations, Brian, sir. You may eat all of my balls. Mark the Mutt said, all my questions are about master gardeners in North Carolina. I think I'm in the right place. Yes, we have answers, we have opinions, and I promise they are all negative. Yeah, I think that's safe to say. We're going to open up the phone lines. 304-804-7277. That's 304-80-GRASS. That's 304-8047-ASS. If you're into that kind of thing. I'm an ass man. Personally,
yeah, I mean,
it's my thing. It is.
Listen, I was going to ask a question out to all of our. I'll wait. I'll hold my question.
Oh, ask it to the caller.
Go ahead, cowboy.
Listen, I was going to ask a question out to.
Hey, caller, I need you to turn the video off and listen to us. Can you listen to us on the phone?
Hello.
Oh boy. Hey, caller, can you turn the video off and listen to us on your phone? Is it because we're going to be on delay on YouTube?
Gotcha, Matt.
Yo.
Shut down.
Who do we have the pleasure of speaking with?
This is the Gray Steve, guys. How are you doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Good.
Hey,
good.
DeMay, hey, real quick, before you get your question in, DeMay has a question he wants to ask callers tonight. And am I right about that or am I wrong? So I'm going to turn it over to DeMay real quick.
I just want to put it out there, have folks call in and offer up the pros specifically of something that has come up of how, and Matt and Ray, you guys can talk about this a little bit too, how you would divide up a new branch or a new route based on having a variety of warm season grasses to take care of in warm season country, right? With different herbicides, different tank mixes, things like that. And just how you are doing it. Like I know Paul Outlaw, I learned, has 2 different sprayers and runs like a cool season sprayer and a warm season sprayer. So anyway, we can dive into that. But let's listen to grass, and then we'll have some pros call in and we can jam on that question here a little bit. I want to learn more about that, how people are all doing that.
What's up, Grass Thief? What's up, dude?
Not much. I just my last phone call to you guys, you guys looked over my soil test, right? And I was telling you, Matt, that I did that application. My soil pH was at 7.2, and I put down the powdered sulfur and the citric acid, and I did it with. I had rain coming and everything. And during that conversation that you said, me telling you that, Ray Ito had said something that caught my attention. And he said, make sure that you retest your pH level because you never know. Sometimes it can really drop. So I'm glad I caught that. I had an extra soil test. So I went ahead and did it, sent it in. I just got the results this morning. And I don't know if this is a fluke or what, but I did notice a change in the pH meters that I had, that it wasn't registering as high as before. And I said, oh, maybe it's just the meters are off. Anyways, the new soil test showed 6.7, I believe it came in. So it's like, what, 0.5 of a point that it dropped? So
Yes.
if you can speak on that. I did send Jay Pink the soil test.
Okay, Grass Teeth, this situation right here is exactly why I told you to plan on testing periodically when you're going on this pH alteration program, because 0.5 of a point pH difference is a lot. Okay,
Right.
it's a lot.
Right.
Yeah, this is major. And
So if you look down in the soil test, what I notice, I don't see things right like you guys can see them. But if you look at the bottom and the calcium level, and look at the difference between my last calcium number and now today's, I believe it was like, I know it's like 88% calcium on my last test, and now 60-something%. Now, does that have to do with me flushing out?
I wouldn't pay attention so much to the percentages as I would just your actual values too. It's just kind of a rule of thumb, because you could apply potassium and you're going to skew that percentage, really quickly.
So you're gonna tilt the percentages, but what I'm looking at is if a soil test is reading parts per million of calcium, magnesium, and potassium, for example, I pay attention to those numbers. But what's significant to me is on this test, apparently your calcium level is flagged as high. And that is an expected result, because what's happening is this soil test is now detecting all of the calcium that your citric acid application is putting into the soil solution. It's now able to detect it.
And here's the other thing. So the previous test, the calcium level was at 2409, 2,409 parts per million. And then on the new one, if you switch it over to parts per million, it is 1,143. Effectively, it has dropped in half. That seems like a lot.
Okay.
Okay. And
so now I know on the soil test itself, like when I get it, you can switch it from pounds per thousand, parts per million, and then I think per acre. So I don't know what it's showing on your end right now.
I changed it all to parts per million, at least where I'm looking at this. So to make sure equal to equal on it, right? So
what do you think, Matt? Do you think it's legit?
I mean, yeah, because also your hydrogen level went up, significantly as well too, and I think that would be a better indicator of why you would see things, right? Like, because all right, so the greater the amount of hydrogen in your soil, the more acidic it becomes, right? So an easy way, simple way to think of it is hydrogen equals acidity, right? So calcium or alkalinity in your soil, which is not exactly one-to-one when I say that, but in this particular instance, I'm going to use it that way just for simplicity's sake, right? a higher concentration of hydrogen will work against the buffering capacity that's coming from we'll say calcium carbonate in this example. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but I'm saying that if that were the case, which very well could be the case, that the majority of the calcium is coming from calcium carbonate in your lawn,
Okay.
in your soil, then having a higher concentration of hydrogen means that it would be reacting with that and put it into some sort of soluble state that would allow it to leach out, and that's why you would effectively lose it by half. I mean, because you went from very very little hydrogen to a shit ton of hydrogen, right?
Right.
So 8 to 23%.
I noticed that too. And also, this was like maybe my third soil test this summer, right? Because I'm just like such a geek and a nerd with this stuff. I'm always trying to learn. And up until today's test, they had my pH 7.2 every time I did it. So, and now it came in at 6.7. So I think something happened.
Yeah, and people are still talking, still asking about this. His application was made 30 days prior of elemental sulfur and citric acid, right? So
yes,
and
it was a
other
little
people are
over
asking,
a month.
is this going to be temporary? Well,
Right.
again, it's one of those that it depends on the buffer capacity in the soil, right?
Okay.
So yes, the amount of hydrogen you have in the soil is going to be temporary, right? Because that's going to continue to buffer against the buffering material you have in your soil, right? So eventually that will all be buffered out and it'll be gone, and then you would reach equilibrium there at your soil pH. It'd become more stable at that point. So, but chances
You
are,
would
is
say
it
I'm
going to
good for
go?
the summer, though, right? Don't touch it.
Yeah, is it going to go from 7.2 to 6.7 back to 7.2 like between now and your first frost in October? No.
Right.
No, probably not.
So you're
not.
golden, as a matter of fact. You're
Right.
golden.
Yeah, I'm stoked about it, man. Because when you see an application and then you see the results, so I'm actually excited about the whole thing.
And I want to make this clear that what you see is not the norm. Okay, like that is not the norm. And so for our people in Texas right now that are looking at this and think that they can get away with the same thing, do not get your hopes up. If you have 20,000 parts per million of calcium, 24,000 parts per million of calcium, and you do a single app of citric acid and elemental sulfur, it is going to laugh at you. It will literally not move.
Right.
In fact, not only will it move it in that one application, you can do 5 applications a year for the next 3
Right.
years, and chances are it won't move. Maybe on the 4th year, you'll eliminate enough of that buffering material to begin to start to decrease your pH. It is what it is. That's why Aldo had to come in when it was fallowed and literally apply 50 pounds per 1,000 square feet of elemental sulfur prior to growing in his new grass, because that was the only way to get it to move, because you had to apply enough acid to counteract the buffering material. So anyway, I wanted to clear that up as well too, because I'm sure someone is going to write in to be like, I'm in Texas, I have 27,000 parts per million, and it doesn't move. Well, I know it doesn't.
Yeah.
And honestly, I learned that watching your video with, I think it's the Lawn Guardian. When your pH is up near 8 or higher, I can understand that it might take 3-4 applications to move it maybe a 0.2 of a point. But I didn't care. I was playing. I look at it like this. I'm always playing with house money with everything I'm doing. So
that's right. If you're playing with house money, you're always your odds of winning are that much higher.
All right, so listen, while I got you on the phone, I don't want to take too much of your time up with the other callers, because I want to sit back and relax and enjoy the show. But I have one concern, and I know where you're going to stand on this, Matt, as far as fungicides, right? All right, so I got to home at 31. I'm in Zone 7A. I'm in southern New Jersey, right? I have Headway G because I bought it 2 years ago, like 99% of the rest of the DIYers, which I really didn't use this summer at all. But I'm concerned about going into dormancy for next spring. So like, what should I be looking at as far as like a hybrid Bermuda? Is it large patch that I can get? And what kind of fungicide for a homeowner? Because there's not many of them from what I'm reading. Can you talk on that?
Maybe large patch. Maybe. Do you know how many times in my career I have seen Rhizoctonia salina large patch affect Bermuda grass?
Okay.
Maybe 3 times in I can't
Okay.
tell you how many thousands of acres of Bermuda
Right.
grass.
That makes me feel better. All right.
Yeah,
So
the
just
degree
watch.
of probability
Just
of you.
watching.
Yeah.
Just keep an eye on things. Is that what you're saying? No preventative apps. What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Somebody mentioned spring dead spot. DeMay, you have more experience with Tahoma 31 than I do. Is spring dead spot severity a thing in Tahoma 31? Or is that going to be some of the older
No.
cultivars?
Yeah, I don't have any data to support this other than anecdotal. I'm sure there's data that exists out there specifically on Tahoma 31, but we're typically making a lexicon app, which is not cheap. Ray will tell you it's his favorite fungicide, not because it's the coolest sounding one, but because it's the most expensive one.
Yeah, I seen that.
It's not cheap, but grassy. It works, and for what the area that you're covering, like it's a significant upfront investment. But one, it works, and two,
Right.
two. There's three reasons. One, it works. Two, it's an initial hit, but it's going to last you a long time. One bottle's going to cover an entire acre. How big's your lawn again?
When I finish it next year, right now I got 1,500 square foot of Tahoma. When I'm all done, I'll have about 30-something hundred square foot, which I don't mind making the investment because that's just the way I am. So.
Yeah, well, and like I'm saying, like with 1,500 to 3,000 square feet, I mean, you're going to live to 100, and I don't know that this bottle is going to run you out. So, it's a good thing to have around. The last thing is that in addition to the fungicidal properties, there's some type of synergistic effect that it has on the overall health of Bermuda grass in particular, and other plants too, potted plants and whatnot, greenhouse stuff that definitely makes a difference. And that's part of the reason that we choose to use that late season as well, is that you kind of get a little bit more bang for your buck as the grass is about to go through dormancy and things like that. So take it for what it's worth. It's not the cheapest route, but it's only.
So if I did apply like a preventative of that before winter dormancy, when would I look to do that, right? Would it be like you see where I'm at in southern New Jersey? What month and like when would I be looking to put that down?
Labor Day-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, right around there, I'd say in your area. So make that application, and then definitely at that point and no later, all of your nitrogen applications should cease at that point. And you just ride it out. You can do different things with micros. You can do, there's lots of little things you can play around with to, try and stave off dormancy a little bit longer, like using wetting agents that prevent dew formation so that you don't get as much frost when you have those cold, clear nights.
Right.
Things like
that.
I
just put down my last nitrogen app that I think. So I think I did like 3.5 pounds for the whole entire year last weekend. And I think I'm going to be done for the year. What do you think? You think that's okay?
I think you're good.
Yep.
Right.
Good.
I think that's great.
That grass. That grass can take as much as you'll throw at it, but 3.5 is solid.
Right. And just so you know, also, Matt, I threw down in May, June, July, and August. I did 2 ounce rate of the prefix 1001. So I don't know if that helps a little bit as far as fungus. But
no,
prefix won't do anything for fungus.
I wouldn't expect anything for that. Rooting standpoint,
okay.
Especially it being new, I think that would be okay. But no, nothing for fungus.
Yeah. Promotes rooting. Right. That's a positive, grass thief. However, you're probably doing this the right way by planning on ending your nitrogen applications at least 45 days before anticipated dormancy. That is
right.
one of the best things you can do, especially if you're talking about a warm season grass that is not in the tropics.
Right.
Okay? If it's not in the tropics, yeah, I think last nitrogen application in August or end of July is smart. Okay, that's a smart smart thing to do. And then of course, here's the thing to note about using something like Lexicon or even Headway, if you decide to go by that route.
Okay.
The fungicide needs to be absorbed by actively growing roots, shoots, and leaves. So this is kind of one of those things where it's done towards the end of the season, but before the grass is completely dormant.
Right. Makes sense.
Okay.
All right.
Because
All right. Good deal.
all these fungicides have to get absorbed and incorporated into the tissues of the grass
Before it goes to sleep. Understood.
Right.
All right, boys. Thank you again. Thanks, JP. And have a good weekend. And I'm going to enjoy the show.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you for calling in.
Look at that.
It does not get more Jersey than Grass Thief, and it is always good to talk to him. It is a reminder, man. It's like watching every movie that was centered in the Northeast. As a kid, it's like, oh my god, this guy lived it.
It's that guy.
He legitimately lived it.
This reminds me of the unaltered, unsanitized Godfather movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guarantee you, he's seen real violations of the RICO Act, real instances of racketeering occurring, without a doubt. I don't want to know half the shit that Grass Thief has said. As seen.
You know what?
Yes, I do. I do want to know.
Grass Thief.
We can do it offline.
Grass Thief reminds me of my late mentor, the guy that I called the Oyabun. Okay? I mean, he reminds me of that guy.
Is he Jersey as hell?
No, he was Vegas and Hawaii as hell.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I have no context of what that could even be like. Literally nothing.
Well, let's just say that people talk a lot about, the families in like Chicago, Jersey, and New York. That kind of action is alive and well in Hawaii.
Go ahead, cowboy.
What's up, big dog? Who we talking to?
Hey, this is Jeremy.
What's happening?
Wilmington, North Carolina. How's it going?
Oh, hey.
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good.
What's going on?
Questions.
Yeah. What you got?
Yeah, let's start with my fungicide.
Okay.
Rotation. So I don't have a. Well, I've got a little bit of delay here. Bear with me for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you there?
Yes, sir.
We got you.
Right, so
We got you.
Yeah, so I use a backpack sprayer, and I rotate. So I got Asprop, and then I rotate with Clary's 3336. Right.
Yeah.
Backpack sprayer. I don't have a high carrier volume, so I'm using a gallon per 1,000. And So what I normally do is I'll apply and I'll just water it in lightly. Both of them, both the Asprof and the Claries. So, am I doing that? Am I doing that right? Am I
No.
What kind of grass
No.
type do you have?
Zoysia?
Zoysia
No.
grass.
No.
Yeah.
Ray,
Tell you why not.
with Zoysia grass in Wilmington, North Carolina. So we got to think this is going to be beach community, but we are still experiencing a minimum of 3 months of dormancy a year, like full on dormancy.
Okay. Here's the deal is we are talking about fungicides that are acropedal penetrants. In other words, they go into the leaf tissue and they move to a certain extent within the plant, right? And so ideal circumstance is to cover the foliage with that fungicide as best as you can, and then permit that application to dry on that turf grass without any more water.
All right.
That's and as far as application volumes go, I'm going to say that it depends, because you see, if you have a backpack sprayer and you're spraying it as a very fine mist, like through what's known as a XR T-jet nozzle or a TP T-jet nozzle, which is a fine fat flat fan nozzle, then I don't worry about a gallon per 1,000 carrier volume. Okay, I don't worry about it, because the other consideration to me is how tall, dense, or thick is your grass that you're treating.
Right.
How dense, tall, or thick? Because
I feel like I'm getting good coverage. I've got a 2 nozzle boom with the AIXR nozzle, right? So I just reading the labels and whatnot. I was concerned about the carrier volume, and what you're saying makes sense. So I think I will just start doing my apps and not watering it in after.
Because
let me ask you this: when are you typically applying, and what diseases are of major concern for you? What do you know? What kind of Zoysia grass you have?
Yeah, it's Empire.
Okay. And are you doing this like through spring and then in fall, or are you spraying through middle of summer too?
I'm doing it through the year on, about every 3. It might be 4 weeks in between apps.
It sounds like a lot of unnecessary apps.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you back off a lot.
Here's where I would be applying most of my fungicides for Empire Zoysia. I would be making 2 to 3 applications of azoxystrobin propiconazole towards the last quarter of the year, and then I would apply again maybe one time in the spring. And here's why. My disease of concern on Empire Zoysia is large patch. That is my disease of concern. And to target that disease, you are making your applications like a couple in the fall and then one more in spring. That's how you normally treat for large patch. And the other diseases, like say leaf spots and dollar spot, are normally not as much of an issue on your average high height of cut Zoysia home lawn. Not as much of an issue.
Okay.
I mean, so I think there's a lot more fungicide going down than what may be needed. That's just my opinion. I mean, because I got to tell you, I typically do not see a lot of disease in Zoysia when temperatures in the daytime stay above 85 and nighttime temperatures stay above 70. I don't see the disease pressure.
Well, we've had plenty of that this year.
Because on the other hand, I'm on high alert when daytime temperatures are below 80 and nighttime temperatures are in the 60s. That's when I'm on, DEFCON 6, because that for me is large patch weather.
Great, good to know. All right, second question. Regarding sulfentrazone, so I've got Centipede in my front yard, right? Don't really have any weed pressure in the back in the Zoysia, but the front, I've kind of got the typical the winter weeds, the typical summer weeds. Not a lot of either one, but I feel like this year, I felt like my prodiamine application maybe kind of hurt my Centipede a little bit, and I'm thinking about maybe instead of using the prodiamine, I'll probably continue the prodiamine in the back with the Zoysia, but I'm thinking about maybe sulfentrazone in the spring of Centipede. What do you think about that?
Ooh, okay.
As both post-emergent and a pre-emergent. I don't really have any crabgrass pressure. It's mostly just your Lespedeza, some of these other spurge, and then I have a fair amount of Kalinga and some of the other nut sedges. Maybe I don't know, yellow. I think I've got yellow nut sedge.
Okay. Here's my thought on this.
Let me hear what yours, Ray is, and then I'll go with mine.
Okay. Here's what my thought is that the kind of weeds that you're seeing on your Centipede are the kind of weeds
normal,
that,
by the way, for your area.
Yeah. That prodiamine does abso-fucking-lutely nothing for. Anyway, does nothing for them. And so, like for Centipede grass, what I'm in favor of is in the winter months, did you know that Centipede is very tolerant of Pilex and Tenacity? Either of those herbicides, it's very tolerant of those. Next thing I can tell you is that in Centipede, in the spring before it gets too hot, I would like to see sulfentrazone applied broadcast to Centipede at the rate of 4 ounces per acre equivalent. I'd like to see that. And if you have Lespedeza and spurge, that is where I would add 0.25 ounce per acre of MSM. Please make note of that. Just 0.25 ounce, not 2.5 ounce or even a half an ounce.
Yeah.
Just 0.25
quarter
ounce.
of an ounce per acre.
Yeah. I've heard the stories. All right.
Yeah, because the deal with MSM on Centipede is that once you get near a half an ounce per acre per year on Centipede, that is a very sketchy situation. That will put Centipede into decline even if you're not careful. But a quarter of an ounce per acre is tolerated. It is tolerated, so you can do that. And the good thing is that neither Lespedeza nor spurge are tolerant of MSM. So a little bit goes a long way if that's your weed pressure.
Yeah, so I was thinking, one of those situations where you go out, like sulfentrazone, 4 ounces per acre, sulfentrazone, 4 ounces per acre, and maybe in the second or third application of sulfentrazone is where you add your metsulfuron methyl, right? Metsulfuron is going to have a nice, residual from it as well too. So
stays.
if you time it right and you catch it before it breaches the canopy, it's going to have a nice long lasting effect for you, right? So I don't know if that's going to be in the timing of your second or your third app of sulfentrazone, but sulfentrazone 4 ounces per acre every 30 days, 3 apps. You're looking for a total of 12. That's going to give you season long control of your Kalinga, and then throw in 1 app of your metsulfuron methyl, and that you should be as clean as a whistle for the remainder of the season.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Sounds great.
I'm just listening and learning too.
Sound good?
That's all I got. Thanks a bunch.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Excellent.
Thank you for calling in.
All right.
It's good talking to you.
All right. Yes, sir. All right. Y'all have a good night.
All right. You too.
Bye.
Wilmington, North Carolina. It looks like Muddy Ducks wants to call in. He's losing his college loans and his business, and he wants to ask me questions about filing Chapter 7. I know very well about it. In fact, I can even recommend you an attorney if you're in the state of Tennessee. I can turn you over to the one I used. So yep, by all means, I got you, brother. I got you. I've got experience in a fair amount of shit that goes all the way from decent degrees of success to the bottom of the barrel of failure. I've done it. So please, I'd love to have the conversation with you. Caller? Who do we have the pleasure of speaking with?
Am I live?
Yes, you're live.
Oh, fantastic. This is Westmaster.
That's
Brent.
This is who?
Hey,
Brent.
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 Wow, what are you doing? What are you doing, Brent?
I'm watching the lawn get rained on for the 300th time for this season.
I got a lot of rain up there these last few days. Like a lot of rain in mass.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? Was it Monday night or what was it? Sunday night or Monday night? You guys got absolutely destroyed.
Oh, we both.
Okay, there was one night though. I know you guys got it was something like 5 to 7 inches from midnight to 8 a.m. or something crazy like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, constantly raining. We are on monsoon all the time. So
Brent, I need to ask you a question though. How come you haven't been out to treat my lawn then? I'm getting upset. You were supposed to treat my lawn last week. How come you haven't been out?
Yeah, right. I know.
Mm-hmm.
So my question for you guys is, what can we do for this disease pressure for cool season turf, and with it raining all the time?
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna. I'd say 3 things that you can do. One is if you have lawns that are super susceptible to Pythium, you might consider buying mefenoxams or a subdued granular and applying that. I think that goes out. I want to say it's definitely that's an old golf course trick. When you have really immature juvenile bent grass and you can't take a sprayer across a new green or something like that, you just go out and spread Subdue Granular, like it's going
Subdue
out of
G.
style.
I forget that you could get granular Subdue, but yeah, Subdue G was the damn. Oh man,
It's a ticket.
You're bringing me back.
Well,
I know.
yeah. Well, I remember Subdue Granular because that is popular in nursery crops. Yeah, because Pythium and Phytophthora infection of foliage plants. Subdue G in the potting media.
So that's one thing. The second thing you can do is count your lucky fucking stars that it's damn near seeding season. And number 3 is you can buy a whole shit pile of seed and just get ready to put it back in the ground. Because I think at this point, there is a certain point that you can no longer spray your way out of something, right? When it comes to pressure that you're about to be under and that you have zero control over. So I look at dollars spent of, let me look at real quick too, like where you're going to be weather-wise here coming up. We're going to do this and this. 69 rating there right now. Beautiful. You're in some pretty favorable weather, though. I mean, like the end of next week, you're at 60 at night.
Subdue is going to be highly targeted to Pythium, though. But
that's what I'm saying. Is
if you pressure.
Yeah. I mean,
because
you
got all kinds of granular options. You get Headway G, Pillar G,
Pillar G.
What is it? Compass G.
All the golf course on
I don't know. Actually, Matt, I know there's various companies that make assorted fungicides in granular options. Like at one time, I even saw ProStar G and Myclobutanil G. So there's like various options available, and of course the ones that you mentioned, Pillar or Headway. And if thinking about incessant rain, I'd probably say, okay, consideration will be given to one pass of Subdue G and another pass of Headway or Pillar. Because at this point, there's so much water on the ground that, once you throw those granules, the granules will release their active ingredient in that water, and it's almost as good as if you sprayed it. There.
Well, fair enough. I think Western Mass Turf talked about it a couple weeks. This week. But thank you guys. I love you guys.
Yeah, Brent,
we love you too.
Yeah.
And keep preaching like good content that is part of the true people that love doing this right.
Fucking A right.
Everybody, go subscribe to Brent. I just threw a link to his channel in the chat. Go give him a subscribe. He's got a lot of shit.
It is some of the realest lawn care content. It's not the in your face hype guy bullshit. I think it's a vlog / just real talk channel for people that are in the trenches of the lawn care industry and owning their own business and all this stuff. I just spent 12
hours in a truck looking at properties, and I need to decompress, and I'm going to decompress.
He does.
Brent, that's why I love you.
Every time that Brent puts a video out, I watch it, and there's like a picture painted on his face, and I can tell exactly how his day went that day just by I can just pause the video, and I'm like, oh, Brent had a good day. He made a video. Or, oh, man, Brent might have killed somebody today. I don't know. It's hard to say. So keep doing what you're doing, Brent.
Oh, I love you guys. We're on the same page.
Yeah, we love you too, sir.
Jeez.
We love you too.
Yeah.
Muddy Ducks wants to talk.
I'll let somebody else call in.
Yeah, we're gonna
Muddy
get
Ducks
Muddy
is gonna
Ducks
call
on
in.
here. He wants to talk about Carbon Earth and my previous drug usage and all the fun stuff. And like I said, I'll be 100% of an open book, and I'll tell you whatever it is you want to know. We can talk about my previous investors too. So we'll get it done. Thank you, Brent. I love you, sir.
All right. Love you too. Bye.
All right, bye. Muddy Ducks, we are holding the line for you, so go ahead and call now. It is yours, and we're gonna give you every opportunity to call. So, Muddy Ducks, it's the floor is yours. Let's see what you have to say. Caller, you're live.
No, that was Cam. He hung up.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
We'll call Cam back. Cam, we are going to call you back. Muddy Ducks, the line is yours. We will call you back, Cam, because I want to talk to you anyway. I'd rather talk to you, I promise. How much money did your investors lose? $2.5 million, minus what they recouped from the bank account. So a few $100,000 back. So somewhere around actually, they didn't put the total of 2.5 in. So yeah, somewhere around $2 million.
I mean, that's nothing.
What else?
In today's world.
What else you got, Muddy Ducks? I got all. Like I said, I'm an open book. I was
wait a
not
second.
doing drugs while I was at Carbon Earth. My drug usage was well in my past. I haven't done drugs in probably 14 years. Now, let's see. I have eaten a gummy from time to time. When Delta 8 first came out, I ate a couple of gummies. I do not like marijuana at all. My thing was go fast, right? Like I was a big fan of the yayo. And again, 14, 15 years. How old am I? 36. Yeah, maybe 15 years since the last time I've even seen it. More or less done it. Now, if you want to talk about alcohol, yeah, I was drinking at Carbon Earth, but I was legitimately only drinking on the weekends. But I would drink a fair amount. It was just kind of my routine that I did.
That port tastes good.
You know, Friday would come around, and my wife and I, we would go out and we would have lots of drinks and have lots of fun, and that was a lot of what we did. Maybe I've done a very 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 minute doses of what they consider micro doses of psilocybin. I guess that was, I don't know, 5 years ago, something like that. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for the answers there. What else you got? Couldn't hold things together, shaking my head. $2 million of weekend fun. Man, you have all right, Muddy Ducks. So I've done a video on this, right? And I'll explain to you how it happened, right? We had a hell of a run, and we gave it everything we had. We did not have the type of facility that we needed to support the mistake we made. And I will tell you that the majority of the issues that centered around, we were overselling what we were capable of producing, and it was a giant issue, right? Because we get in, we've got investors, and so immediately what we're thinking is like, oh, shit, they're investing $2 million, then we've got to hurry up and sell $2 million. Well, the problem is that legitimately we sold like $4 million, right? And so immediately you're behind the 8 ball and you're trying to figure out how we're going to get it all made. Then someone else had said, do you have equipment integration issues at Carbon, like lots of parts breakdowns that slowing things down? Yes, just tons of it. I'll give you an example, like where we are with our manufacturing line right now. We have experienced literally days of downtime in a year due to equipment malfunction. We put all said and done, we were at months of downtime per year at Carbon Earth. First year was many months. The second year was fewer months, but still several months, somewhere around 4 total through a given fiscal year on that. So yeah, that was a huge part of it, and part of it's trying to learn the system, trying to learn the kinks of the equipment. Part of it is dealing with staffing issues. The other part of it was having to deal with that during COVID, right? Because what happened during COVID is this is a small town of 600 people, right? People hang out together on the weekends. There's not a ton of people that you go hang out with on the weekends, right? So the guys you work with, you go hang out with on the weekends. One of them comes up with COVID. Well, they were all together that weekend. Half of them fall out, and then what do? You're at half capacity. Well, sometimes you have a minimum that you need on the floor in order to operate, and if you don't have that to be able to operate, then you're not able to operate. So there at the end, yes, when you have that much material ready to get out, and you have no people available to work, and then they do come to work, and you immediately have an equipment malfunction, then yeah, it created a significant amount of issues. Yeah, why don't you call in? Part of it is your ego. 100%. I've said this. I've said 100%. I don't know what you think that you're going to pull from me is, yeah, we made a fuck ton of mistakes. A fuck ton of mistakes. We made terrible, terrible decisions. Is this Muddy Duck? Hello? Muddy Ducks?
No.
This is Paul Smith.
Hey.
Paul.
Yeah, I'm just not who you're looking for.
You're not. You're not. And again, I don't know why this guy does not have the balls to call in, and it's ridiculous. But again, we made a shit ton of mistakes, and if you think my ego got in the way, you have no idea how much my ego got in the way, right? Because I sure as shit don't want to look someone in the face that I have the potential to close a 7-figure deal with and tell them I can't make it. What do you think got in the way there? 100% my fucking ego. That's all that it broke down to. So
wow.
What else?
I lost
what else you got?
10-year business during COVID. So
yeah. Oh wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing. And what did you do? Oh, you got to rebuild your fucking life, didn't you?
I did.
Hey, Muddy Ducks, you know the great thing about this country is that it is endless fucking opportunity. That is what the United States is. It is endless fucking opportunity. And it doesn't matter how big my ego still is or how fragile my ego is. I know this. 100% I know this. No one understands how much of a fucking weirdo, mentally ill, anxiety ridden. That's why I wasn't on the show last week. I wasn't here mentally. I was no good psychologically last week. And I had to fucking take the night off. I didn't want to come on and put a smile on my face and fake my way through an hour and a half, 2 hours of it. I just wasn't there mentally. I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd be in a bad place. I'd rain on everybody's parade. I'd probably say something I'd end up regretting. But you know what? Again, I live in America. So even though I still have an ego that I'm still learning from, that I will spend the rest of my life learning about, I've got the opportunity in this place to reboot and try all over again. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Only in America.
Since you're in a bad
only
spot,
in America.
raging on your show again. Please.
Yeah, only
please,
in
Muddy Ducks, call in and let's.
That's all you gotta do is
call.
I mean,
the opportunity to say whatever it is you want to say. You keep shit talking me, but you can't call in and actually say it to me. Tell us about yourself. I know this is
the only
Brian
place
Whalen.
on YouTube.
I know exactly who it is. Again, I'm
It's the
glad
only
you're at
place on
Master
YouTube
Gardener.
that the haters call in. You can't call in to Ryan
Mm-hmm.
Henry. You can't call in to Alan. You can't call any of those guys. They won't even face the music. Just say, call in, talk to us. We're fallible people. We're normal human beings.
They don't bite.
Amazing.
It's easier to type.
Maybe Ryan.
No,
You know what I did do,
be...
Muddy Ducks, is I lost well over 100 pounds. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm at 13% body fat. I'm going to run over 30 miles by the end of the week. I can bench press over 300 pounds. For me and myself at 6'4", I'm an absolute fucking specimen that I've never been before in my life. I feel great. My wife says I look great, which is all that's important to me. I have happy kids that are in private school that are excelling both in athletics and academics. I couldn't be any more blessed than with what I have. Okay. And and the only reason I have what I have is because I don't do very well mentally. I do well physically, right? So, and I can continue to show them that I will work endlessly to provide for them. And I'm gonna fuck up, but because I continue to try really hard, they give me the time of day. And I hope that with my own psychopathy that I have to deal with, I can show them that no matter what they have to face in the world, whether it be mental health issues, whether it be self-induced ego driving businesses into the ground, that you can get up the next day and you can do it all over again. So there we go.
Yep.
Well, listen, Muddy Ducks, if you want to talk about any of these other subjects, go ahead and call in. If otherwise, I just want to talk turf, boys, because bro can't sack up and call and yell at us.
Yeah,
on the phone.
We'll switch to turf. We gotta call Cam back, and then we'll call Paul back as well too.
Yeah. Call Cam. Let's call Cam back because Cam's got something good going on right now.
Dude, Cam and freaking Ben. Jesus, have you seen the pictures?
What's up, fellas?
What are you doing?
Hey, Cam.
I have a question for you. Are Pops and Ben engaged in a iron cutter prick waving contest right now, or what? Because listen, they're both.
It just might be. It just might be.
I think Pops might be in a different age class, but dude,
dang!
Did you see the thing that Ben posted the other day on Instagram where he had the golf ball sitting on his iron cutter,
fire.
and they has the Masters piano music playing behind it. It looks. I was just scrolling through, and it gave me a notification that he had posted something, but this was the post before where it was like the wide angle shot, and I just was like, I was blown away. It looks amazing. So, personally, my ego is glad that it all worked out for y'all, because I think I felt partially responsible. Like I kept thinking every time I see these posts, to be like, man, if this goes south,
you should have.
This ain't gonna look good for old DeMay. This is gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad news. But
well,
you
guys
have killed it.
I was thinking this. No, I was thinking the same thing because I know I kind of talked Cam into this too, and that's like, go Bermuda, sprig it. I was the instigator as well on this, and it's like, but then you see, this is how easy, or no, how simply a bad situation can be turned around. And I have a saying where a bad lawn is just a couple apps of Soul Stealer and a truckload of sprigs away from being all good.
Yep.
Now,
especially when you're in the right location.
There you go.
When you're in the right when you're in the right area. But then I paraphrase this from what the fellas in the cool season region of the USA, and that they always joke about how when they have trouble with their turf, the solution is as quick and as in reach as a bottle of Roundup and a bag of seeds away.
And a bag of seeds. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, Cam?
Hey, man, I'm not afraid of Roundup and a bag of seed anymore at all.
That's what I was trying to tell Brent too from Western Mass. Is like, there's a certain point you get so worked up about fungicides and this and that and working your way out of the jam, and over here off to the right side of the flow chart is this arrow that, goes this way and points down and says, just seed the motherfucker.
Yep. And be done with it.
Yes.
Yeah, because what did I say starting last year when I was sitting down with Zach? No more hospice lawn care. No more. I mean, if it can't be kept alive on its own using ordinary measures, it's bulldozer time. It's just bulldozer
Cam, what's
time.
been your biggest?
Ryan, it's funny that what you were saying, because I was recording yesterday, and I actually recorded a video that's going to cover exactly what you just said. Sometimes you just can't spray your way out. You're done,
and that's
you
okay.
just got to be done with it.
I just feel like the sunk cost fallacy in turf management, and it's easier when you're at a smaller scale. It's easier when you're lower expectations than a superintendent at Augusta National or something like that. You can't just deep six something because you don't like the way it looks. But I think that too often people get caught up in this hamster wheel rat race thing where it's like, oh, I gotta buy more humic, I gotta buy more fertilizer, I gotta treat it with this fun. It's like, bro, just start with good genetics.
Just stop.
You'll be impressed with how much easier your life gets.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean,
so
I'm in the same place.
All right, let's lay it on us.
All right, so one of them warm season, one of them cool season. So on Pop's lawn, I am thinking about going down with the second round of Ray's cleanup app.
Yep.
And this will be about 2, maybe 3 weeks after. It'll probably be 3 weeks after the initial application.
Okay.
Crabgrass is starting to die off a little bit, but that's like the main thing that's really hanging around. Should I substitute something else in there?
No.
Do not.
Nope.
No. Do not need an ALS inhibitor in there. Nope.
Okay.
Ryan, please explain to Cam what happens when you lay down a full rate application of quinclorac on hybrid Bermuda. Please explain to him so that he's not tempted.
There's more ways that it can go wrong than it can go right. So essentially with the mode of action, it essentially stunts and really, like, it doesn't just like yellow and make it look bad. It actually stunts the growth of the Bermuda for a period of probably at least 2 weeks, probably closer to like 3.5, something like that. So
month? Yeah.
Unless you can tolerate that, and I mean, it'll come back. It'll be fine. My only concern with it on a new stand is that, you need every single day, hour that you can get to build those carbohydrate reserves for those new plants. And I would rather see you make an effort to clean up that crabgrass as best you can, but that is not going to be a deal breaker, right, in the long-term health of that grass, right? So let's say that, after your second spray, 15%, I don't know what kind of coverage you have, but let's just say that it's even 5%, crabgrass. That 5% will fill in by, Father's Day of next year after you green up, so take that for what it's worth. Get your pre-game going really, really strong next year in the spring, right? Even this fall. I mean, I'm assuming there's no overseed here. So, get that pre-emergent out this fall and get going on that. And then, I don't know, man. I think that there's
on the fall,
you're in a really good spot.
On the fall pre.
Just don't screw it up.
On the fall.
Yes.
Yeah, on the fall pre. What do you think about a monument and simazine for this fall? And the reason why is because normally on Bermuda going into winter, my preferred is split at Spectacle, but I think Pop's lawn is too young and, too soon after sprigging to do Spectacle on.
I'm not against that. I'm not against that, and then just come back in this. When would pops be completely dormant? January.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably gonna be like January, February time frame.
Okay.
So Matt, would you go out? Would you do a glyphosate app to clean up whatever breaks through?
Yeah. February time frame, 100%. I'd be doing glyphosate in February.
In Feb.
Yeah.
Glyphosate in
and
Feb,
I really, really like the Simazine Monument combo. That's expensive, but the longevity you'll get out of the Monument combined with the Simazine there is good. Revolver Simazine would be good, but not give you the duration out of it. Negate and Simazine may not be terrible, but it would not be the best choice either.
Okay. Here's why.
But just some other options there.
Options. Yeah, you've got choices. And the reason why I'm thinking Simazine right now is because, as you know, I am that guy that has applied Simazine as the pre-emergent during sprigging. That's why I know that recently sprigged Bermuda is tolerant.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay, Cam.
All right, so that's warm season. So now we're gonna switch over to cool season. I am actually in the process of getting my fall repair renovations and stuff going right now at my place. And I am already taking the lawn down, and I got some leveling that I need to do to get to where my height of cut wants to be for next year, which is going to be sub 2 inches next year on tall fescue.
Love it. Yeah.
So I'm thinking from a leveling standpoint, should I go sand or a sand soil mix?
I've got opinions about this.
Right, and that's why I'm calling, because I knew I would get various opinions. I kind of know where Ray already stands. Back the sand truck up. So
yeah.
and I'm in where I would be a little more lenient with it. I have had so many people reach out this year about soil they brought in from various areas like Maryland and others that have been so fucked up. The soil they bring in that is sold as topsoil is insane. It is not. Construction fill would be a better option than what's being put down, right? You know what I'm saying? Like 30% organic matter and real weird macro skews,
Base
where
soil,
it's obvious that they're taking something and then blending compost into it to call it topsoil, right? And it is a bad it's a bad mix, right? And then it creates color issues throughout the lawn that are going to take longer to redeem than if it just would have been sand that may have some color issues, but would correct at a faster rate than it would be bringing in some wild ass foreign quote unquote soil. So where I normally would say, 30% soil integrated into it, 25% soil integrated into it, I'm gonna lean more towards Ray just because, one, Maryland this year specifically, and two, how many people have reached in with it, and then it's weird. What is there a shortage of? I mean, for God's sake, literally just sell construction fill and call it topsoil, and it'll. I promise it'll grow grass better than what they're selling.
I've seen some bad stuff. I've actually went around to a couple of places just to look at it and kind of see what it's looking like. And it does look bad. I do have one supplier that I got some from like a year or so ago that was pretty good. And I haven't made it up there to check theirs out and see what it looks like right now. But I have some of theirs already in my backyard, and it worked out pretty good. I didn't have a lot of crazy weed seeds and stuff that came out of it, but hey, that fluctuates from year to year. So who knows what I'm gonna get this year?
If you've already got it on site, just use it, in my opinion.
Oh no, I don't. I got to go get something.
Oh.
So that's why
Oh, okay,
I'm asking the question.
How when we're talking about when you say leveling, like what's the deepest deflection you have off of the grade you want? Like,
And is it because
inch?
like there's dead
Inches?
fescue that's missing in that spot and it's creating a divot, or is it like a legitimate just bad divot?
Is legitimately a bad divot. And talking to my neighbors, there previously used to be a tree, maybe 2 trees in that area.
Shit.
And it's sunken in. And like the grass grows fine there for the most part, but it's over time it's just sunken in. And the lowest point may be 6 inches. There's a couple of bad spots that's in it.
That's soil.
We're anywhere from 4 to 6 inches.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah, you're back in the soil range.
Yeah, so I think trying to find a quality topsoil would be important. I don't look. I would just look for, pulverized topsoil. I wouldn't go with mixes and blends. You don't know what you're going to get in there, quality, consistency, everything like that. Just use topsoil, and then if you need to fine tune on top of that, that's when you can start using sand to fine tune grades that are, say 3/4 of an inch or plus or minus a half an inch out, right, across your lawn, and start to work down that way. I mean, the other thing I would do is I would investigate those areas that potentially had the tree or roots or anything like that around them. Like, just dig a small hole where you think it might be, because if there's still remnants of that tree in the trunk and root flare, things like that in there, you want to get those out right away before you go do all this work, because it's going to continue to decay, continue to settle, and you'd hate to put all this effort and work and time into it, and then it all is the same way in 2 years. You know what I mean?
And I think that's what happens is I think it's decaying and settling.
So yeah, if you get that out of there.
I also had this wild hair idea of getting a side cutter, cutting those areas out, because the grass grows fine there. The grass is fine. So taking a side cutter, side cutting those areas out, topsoil underneath, get me up close to where I need to be for my grade, lay the side back down, and do any fine tuning left with sand.
That is not crazy at all. That's a good idea.
That's a very common common thing to do.
That's actually a legitimate technique. If you already have good turf grass there, why the hell tear it up and kill it? Just lift it, fix your deviation, and then put sod right back on top. No one will be the wiser, pretty much. I mean, that's just a legitimate technique, and that is, in the cases, you actually get adept at doing that when you are not a truckload of sprigs and a couple apps of Soul Stealer away from a brand new lawn, or you're not a bag of seed and a bottle of Roundup away from a new and better lawn. I mean, because you learn this kind of stuff when sod is literally $5 a square foot.
Yeah.
Learn.
Yeah, so that's the kind of the path that I was thinking about going down, is taking the side cutter, cutting those areas out, fixing the grade underneath with soil as best as I can get it, which is going to get me pretty close. And then any other smaller adjustments, I just do it with sand.
Yeah, fine tune it, and then call it good. That I like that.
Yep,
I like that plan.
Boom.
All right, I'm good. That's all I have, fellas. I appreciate it. Appreciate the info. Ryan, Ray, quit making me spend money down at Pop's lawn. And
hey, if you get this right, it should be easy street, dude. I mean, literally, you tell Pops, hey, you're gonna make 2 herbicide applications a year, and fertilize it, mow it, and water it when it needs it, and he's on the gravy train.
He's
man.
golden.
Biscuit wheels.
Yeah. Papa is golden because
Oh yeah, as soon as
You
as
know,
long as we get through this season, so when he comes out in the spring and green up happens, he's gonna be on easy street next year.
yeah, because the alternative is
Bermuda, baby.
you cut corners now, half-ass it, and then this
Yeah.
lawn becomes an uphill battle in perpetuity, and then at that point you get beyond where you can spray your way out of a problem, and I'm going to say, yep, Cam, it's time for the bulldozer.
Yeah. No,
Is it all- there's
we're
no-
in a good spot. We're in a real good spot. The coverage looks good. It's filling in. The weeds are, the broadleafs are fried. So it's now just up to it filling in those areas, and we're gonna be in a good spot. I'm gonna give it a next dose of FERT here in about another week, and that should get us close to the finish line to getting all the way filled in.
Boom. I love it.
Boom. Dang.
All right, then, fellas. Y'all have a good one. I'll be in the Discord.
Game on. Have a good night, Cam.
All right.
See ya.
How long until Cam makes it back to North Carolina? I'm giving it three months.
He'll just buy a property there to grow Bermuda.
Oh.
Grass camp.
Camp out
Some
at
people
it.
have a honey
I could see him
camp.
doing that
Some
too.
people have a fishing camp. Cam's gonna have a grass camp. Nor would do that.
What are you doing, Paul? Can you talk to me about Chapter 7?
Paul was sending
Actually-
me some racy pictures last night. He was up late doing some nasty things to some tall fescue in the dark. Sensual things.
Ooh.
Things that you would only do
So
to tall
Matt-
fescue if
Matt,
somebody
you
was
never-
paying you a good amount of money to do
Matt,
them.
you never
know what I mean?
fungicided fescue in the dark?
I look, Paul, you know the answer to this. Hell yeah, I fungicided fescue in the dark, and you know what I did it with? Paul?
Start with the P?
You damn right it started with the P. It was a motherfucking permagreen that I did it with. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Every app, every line, all season.
Forever and ever.
I will die on this hill.
I will say that the
you need a backpack.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's why I routed my spray nozzle over the tire, right? And it was my way of
mine
being
looks
able to
very similar.
It works better that way, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you don't have it over the right tire, then you're not doing it right.
This is why I love you, Paul. I don't care what.
It's permagreen stuff.
No matter what, we are gonna lock arms and we're gonna fight the world together, back to back, man. Me and you, we got this.
So what's up, guys?
I want to talk about. I don't know. Dick's airplanes and
I'm
bankruptcies.
well rested.
Apparently.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to see
no,
what the neighbor with the airplane sees when he flies over Matt's overgrown lawn. All right, I think this is Spencer now. So earlier I thought it was Brian Whalen, but I'm fairly certain this is Spencer coming back, because before Spencer was he was sending sending me my address, and then he sent the list of the areas he was going to circle and drive to. Now I know he's looking at my house on Google Earth, and he's saying, the neighbor with the airplane sees when he flies over Matt's overgrown lawn shrubs. So
I'm proud of you for having an overgrown lawn.
Yeah. So this is him. Hey, by the way, didn't you say you told me that my wife should watch my back, Spencer? Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that amazing? There's balls of steel on you there, buddy. Balls of steel.
Does that podcast need to be public again? I don't know.
I think so. I think that's going to have to go back live on the YouTube, and I don't know. We'll see what Oklahoma Bureau of Investigations follows up with next after the fact. Yeah. Thank God we've
All right,
got
so
we've got a
Paul.
log of this one tonight. Hey, Paul, what's up,
All
dude?
right, Paul. So here's my question. You know, you're running
All right.
probably a variety of turf types down there. Let's take cool season out of the mix for right now, right? So you've got
Okay.
you know some Bermuda accounts, some Zoysia accounts, St. Aug, maybe some Centipede, especially if you're in Matt's hood. You know, he only lives in subdivisions and properties that have centipede grass in them. It's actually a requirement he tells his realtor
This
when he's buying those
motherfucker right
houses
here.
over $500,000. Could you even find a $500,000 house that has centipede lawn? Is that even a thing that exists?
No, not here.
Not in North Carolina. No.
Yeah. In fact, it's really hard to find a $500,000 house in Knoxville. They're typically all above that. And I'll stick to my
You'd have to
$160,000
join the army
modular home.
and move to Fayetteville.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. North Carolina's in high demand right now.
All right. So when you have these accounts, how do you split up your routes?
DeMay, we did hit it. Better be careful with names. You will lose this channel. Okay, Spencer, my attorney is waiting, right? You have your dad or whoever is representing you call my attorney. And again, I know that you don't know, but legitimately, because you were going to threaten because you threatened to poison the water supply, I got a phone call from the Oklahoma Bureau of Investigations, the OBI. Okay. And I sent over a tremendous amount of information that they requested from me. So I will say whatever name I want to say, Spencer. Just putting that out there. I gave you the opportunity to call in today. You wouldn't do it. So you please continue to make whatever threat you want to make. Please continue telling me that my wife needs to watch her back. My kids need to watch whatever they're doing. Whatever you want to come up with, by all means, please do. Spencer, I got you. I 100% got you, buddy. We're buddies. We're bros, man. We're bros.
So, Paul, you got all these accounts. How do you break this up so that you're not spraying something on a Zoysia lawn that you wouldn't spray on a Bermuda lawn, and so on and so forth? What's the calculus in Paul Smith's world for handling situations like that? And think of it from a small scale to start, where it's hard to segment those all out, and you only have like a route a day, and it's hard to kind of like crisscross the city just so you can do all your Bermuda accounts or something like that. How would you handle that?
You separate crews. You've got a warm season crew, you've got a cool season crew, and then sometimes we can overlap depending on the application. But my biggest thing is, especially on the warm season, get a good pre-out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If you're using spectacle, using SureGuard or those tend to go a long way to just as far as preventing weeds. And then you pick up a backpack as needed.
Mm-hmm.
So that really prevents on the warm season, having to go out there and make blanket applications.
I see what you're saying. So trying to, again, herbicide selection to have as much crossover between grass types as possible. Mm-hmm. Again, DeMay, I'm going to push into this. My thing is truck design. And when I was in a mixed market like that, again, I had 3 hose reels for 3 independent tanks, right? So it was a 600, 2 split 100-gallon tanks that went to another hose reel. So the 600 went to one hose reel. And I actually had it teed off where you could send the 600-gallon tank to the other hose reel too, if like 2 people wanted to spray out of that one hose reel. And then I had another 100-gallon drop tank on the back, and I had a 3rd hose reel underneath the other 2 hose reels. And And really, that one I only used for trees and shrubs. Occasionally, I would have to put insect and disease control in it and go make fungicide and disease applications with it on my grass types, right? But I never put any herbicide in that third 100-gallon drop tank. I'm a sucker for not splitting crews just because of, in my opinion, route density is more important. So maximizing revenue per hour is going to be more important than well, it just is. Period. Revenue per hour is going to be the most important part of it. So anyway, that's
and that's why I'm not the best person to ask, because
Oh no, it's not the best. It's not about the best person.
My
it's
guys
about
spend 4 days on just one property.
There's no right or wrong way to do
one property or a whole day.
And that's the thing is, I'm
However-
looking for perspective from a variety of different people. That's the most important part to me.
Okay, because I'm going to tell you that should I ever get teleported to a place where I've got a 1 acre Zoysia lawn here, 1 acre Centipede lawn here, 1 acre St. Aug lawn here, 1 acre Bermuda lawn here, yeah, the service vehicle design would be very different in that it would have the main tank and then a drop tank for each grass type. That's just how it is. And the reason why for each grass type is because, Paul, have you ever seen what happens when you fail to wash out your equipment thoroughly enough, for example, and you previously had some Pylex in the lines or the nozzle, and you sprayed that on Zoysia?
Reason we don't use Pylex.
Okay, but then,
I've had Celsius carry over into a fescue lawn, and it was disastrous.
It was bad,
It
right?
is, and if you don't do it
Killed
right,
the
yeah,
first 3
absolutely.
fescue lawns, and then the rest of them were okay after that. But yeah, it was.
Okay, and Matt, I got an even more nerve-wracking one for you. Imagine me having Cethoxidym in the spray rig to treat Centipede. Cethoxidym.
That's it. It's a good cleanup herbicide.
Yeah, but you better make absolutely effing sure that it goes nowhere near Zoysia, Bermuda, St. Augustine, or Seashore Paspalum, or you've got a lot of resodding to do.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah. So that's where my answer to Ryan, would be, if you have a situation where you've got all of these lawns all chopped up and you never know what you're going to get because people in that town are like Forrest Gump and they think life's like a box of chocolates except it's for their lawn, you better make plans to segregate out spray equipment according to the grass types. And then, of course, you have yet another drop tank and pump and hose reel just for your cool season stuff.
Now,
I mean, that's how
what
I
if
would.
I told you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what if I told you that I don't know where I went? My camera died.
Ooh.
I died. I'm not dead. Somehow I'm invisible.
He's
back!
Hallelujah.
Turn my light up. Turn my light up. There we go. Let me get a little better light. A little mood lighting there. Yeah. What if I said that they want to use a ride-on only?
Not only.
No drop tank.
Not only.
Well, I mean, like, you got to pull a backpack and everything like that, but no tank sprayer, no skid sprayer.
All right, so
skid spray on
if you,
every truck.
Can you segregate stakes? All right, so let's think about it. The time of year that you're going to be making blanket applications on warm season heavy environments, right, are going to be in the spring and fall. Typically, your pre-emergent seasons during the summer, you're going to be granular, right? Unless you're doing again, like some insect and disease control. But again, the rest of the time from April through September, any kind of weed control you're going to be doing will be out of a backpack. That's just probably the most efficient way to get it done, right? So again, now we're in so pre-emergent apps are going to be your blanket apps. You really only have to worry about one mix there because you can usually apply well, shit, no, because you're going to want to have can you split the tanks in the ride-on?
Yes.
No.
Then with two tanks for certain. So homogenize your weed control for Centipede and St. Augustine. Homogenize your herbicide for Bermuda Zoysia. For the most part, aside from sethoxidem, for the most part, what's safe on Centipede is safe on St. Augustine. Of course, there's rules to be broken there, but I think that's the easiest way to get it done, especially if you can split tanks on your ride-on. Now, I do think also that you need split tanks on your trucks as well, at least 2 tanks, right? So you do your primary mixing for those 2 nurse tanks that you fill your machines with, and then you're filling the appropriate side, based on what you're going for, right? And if you've got to color code the tank lids to make sure you don't have a mistake or something like that, right? Like, dye your nozzle on one of your hose reels orange, and then the tank that sprays that mix, make it orange as well, the cap. And do the same thing on the other side.
And
yes.
Matt, can I tell you what I do?
Sure.
So on cool season backpacks, they have blue duct tape. Warm season, red. Tree shrub is green. I personally run a 200-gallon split tank. It's never had any kind of herbicide in it. I've got one that is dedicated, one side dedicated tree shrub, one side that's dedicated fertilizer and fungicide only, and then a 65-gallon drop tank for herbicide as needed, and it comes in and out for the permagreen.
I'm just taking it all in.
So I can, I have done it when I first started in Augusta. It was one truck, right? So you're trying to hit, everything, all the grass types, right? But when it was 2 people, we went the route of splitting it between 2 different techs, right? So you had one tech target Centipede and St. Augustine, and then the other one target your other grass types. And a lot of times what I would do, depending on how tight the route was run everything in the area that was Bermuda Zoysia. And then once I ran everything empty, then I would switch over to my Centipede, St. Augustine mix, and then finish my route that way, right? So, but again, I was kind of fortunate there just due to the route density. Could be the same in other areas too, right? And that's one of those you have to gauge it by where selling, right? If you're selling in one area that's just hot and on fire, 4 different zip codes that are all next to each other, 60 subdivisions, then it makes sense, especially if it's in a 6-mile radius or something. Hell yeah, you can do that. But if you're,
if they're all Bermuda, you treat them all as Bermuda.
Well, yeah, but if you've got, if you're 30 miles apart,
and you got
if you're 30 miles apart,
Centipede,
and it's all intermixed, then now you're talking about one tech, trying to do that. Here's the other advantage about having a tech dedicated to a grass type is chances are they're likely to become an expert on that grass type faster than the person who's managing 4 different species of grass as well. So it really could go both ways, and it's, I think there's a case for either of it. I think from a dollar perspective, I would argue that one truck handling all of it makes more sense. In terms of consistency of application quality, I think it's going to edge slightly higher to having a dedicated tech to a dedicated grass type or blend of grass types, right? Bermuda Zoysia for one tech, Centipede St. Augustine for another one.
I would probably
now talking
agree.
it out loud. I'm trying to draw the line there,
You're-
right? Like it's which one do you need to hedge in terms of making people happy?
Because my thought is that if you try to make somebody do all in one, that just increases the chances of something going wrong. Okay? That just increases the chance of something going wrong. And at that point, I like the idea of saying this tech services all the Centipede, St. Augustine. This tech services all of the Zoysia Bermuda. And by the way, the other issue with dealing with like St. Augustine is what happens when you want to use Progress on St. Augustine? Because Progress is the very thing that you use to kill Bermuda and Zoysia contamination within St. Augustine.
All right, so here's in that
Guys,
particular
can
instance.
I ask something and say something?
I would upsell that.
All at
What you
once.
got, Paul?
Okay. If you have a good pre-emergent program, that's
Mhm.
going to negate a lot of the weeds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's
However-
certain difficult to control weeds that you can upsell.
However, please, everybody, put this into yet another perspective. You hammer Centipede and St. Augustine with the same pre-emergence and the same rates of pre-emergence that you can get away with on Zoysia or Bermuda, you will be that person that
bad
makes
news.
that Centipede and that St. Augustine decline. You owe somebody a lawn once things go down. So I'm
Now,
kind of careful about the whole thing of treating Centipede and St. Augustine pre-emergent wise the same way that I would treat, say, Zoysia or Bermuda. And you know what my experience is with those grasses? Out of all the grasses, Zoysia tends to tolerate pre-emergent even better than even Bermuda does. Now that I think about it, and my observation over the years.
Again, the poison's in the dose, right? So finding the appropriate dose between or appropriate rate that you could be tolerant across those four, and again, do you need to make two sets of split apps of spectacle on Bermuda Zoysia to keep them clean? Probably not.
Probably
No.
Probably not. You don't need to
Not
split
here,
between
anyway.
Zoysia and not between Zoysia and Bermuda. However, be extremely conscious of how St. Augustine and Centipede react to, say, more than 6 ounce per acre of spectacle flow per year. Be very conscious of how those grasses react to that. And just keep that in mind. I mean, it's
4.5.
one.
All
Yeah,
I heard
yeah.
was that Paul wants to come back here in a couple weeks and talk to us about all this for 2.5, maybe 3 hours.
No thanks, guys.
No,
Shit,
you're
huh?
coming on. We're gonna talk.
I
Hang on.
had a great nap today.
I bet. All right, we got to
Good to
go.
talk to you, Paul.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
All right, have a good night. All right. We are going to wrap it up as well too. It's 10:45. It is it's dizzy. We need a GTFO. All of us do. Everyone have a great night. We're going to see you on Sunday. Sunday we will be recording.
Burning and returning.
We are burning and returning. Are we doing a regular show? Oh God, JPEG, I'll get with you over the weekend. We need to get this scheduled with the Centipede guys and get them on sooner than later. And in fact, I may. What do y'all think about on Sunday having the Centipede guys on?
Sure,
do that
for it. Yeah, I'd be down for it.
Yeah,
send it. If that
I'll
works,
get
send
that
it.
figured out. Yeah. So
Mhm.
JPEG, I'll loop you
JPEG
in
does
with the deets on that.
We'll have to start with the "fuck it, do it live" polka. JPEG.
I got it ready.
Get it queued up. All right.
Yeah,
I love y'all.
It's in the production. We good.
Y'all have
Later
a great
on.
night. Catch you on the flip side. Bye.
You are a fucking pussy.